Welcome to This Week in Taiwan. Taiwan is home to 23 million people, and you might think what happens on this small island doesn't affect you. But in reality, it is quite the contrary. From geopolitics to global supply chains, Taiwan is more connected to your life than you might expect. So let's get into this week's news and see just how interconnected we really are. Former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is making headlines in Taiwan. Johnson published an op-ed in the Daily Mail over the weekend, voicing strong confidence in Taiwan's ability to withstand any potential cross-strait conflict. The column, titled "My Audience with a Young Man Willing to Die to Stop China Seizing Vital Technology That Would Put Its Hand Around the Windpipe of the West," describes Taiwan's struggle to democratize and says that it is precisely why the island will never become just another province of Communist China. Johnson also argued that Beijing's claim to Taiwan has no merit. Taiwanese lawmakers responded on Monday. Ruling Democratic Progressive Party legislator Zhong Jiabin said Johnson's comment signaled that Democratic allies are committed to Taiwan's security and defense. Meanwhile, opposition KMT legislator Li Yanxiu said the Taiwanese people are prepared to fight for their democracy and freedom, but stressed that peace remains the best outcome for all. Li added that the stability across the Taiwan Strait benefits not only Taiwan but also the United States, the United Kingdom, Japan, and the entire world.
The Taiwanese people are willing to fight to defend our democracy and freedom and the sovereignty and dignity of the Republic of China. There are no winners in war and no losers in peace. And virtue is never solitary. It always has neighbors. Asia-Pacific and cross-strait peace and stability are of absolute benefit to the entire world, including being in the best interests of countries such as the US, UK, and Japan.
A U.S. think tank has warned that Taiwan's reliance on Qatari liquefied natural gas, or LNG, leaves it exposed to Chinese pressure, urging Taipei to diversify its energy sources. In June 2024, Qatari LNG and Taiwan's CPC Corporation signed a 27-year LNG supply and equity deal, with Qatar delivering 4 million tons annually from its North Field East project. Last year, Taiwan imported 21 million tons of LNG. Australia supplied 38%, Qatar 25%, and the US 10%. If LNG supplies were disrupted, Taiwan could face immediate global fallout, forced to choose between powering homes and hospitals or sustaining its semiconductor industry, the backbone of its economy. That's according to the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. The foundation warned that the CCP could combine cyber, diplomatic, and economic tools with maritime force to undermine Taiwan's grid. It urged Taiwan to reduce reliance on Qatar, pursue U.S. contracts even at higher cost, expand renewables, and consider restarting nuclear power plants. The report also cautions that China is embedding malware in critical infrastructure and calls for Taiwan to strengthen defense across ports, aviation, and other vital sectors. President Lai Ching-te says Taiwan is stepping up efforts to secure its role in the global semiconductor industry, especially as artificial intelligence drives competition worldwide. Speaking on Monday at the Semicon Network Summit, Lai announced 3 new measures aimed at strengthening what he called a resilient non-red supply chain. Those measures include bolstering the industry's foundations, supporting companies as they expand overseas, and deepening international cooperation. The president pointed to Taiwan's record of global collaboration, noting that over the past year, trade and investment centers were opened in Prague, Fukuoka, and Texas. He said those hubs not only help companies access new markets, but also strengthen cross-border supply chain partnerships. Lai laid out 3 guiding principles: pursuing pragmatic and trust-based cooperation, deepening integration with global semiconductor supply chains, and cultivate AI talent. He highlighted Taiwan's new 10 major AI infrastructure projects, which aim to train 1 million workers across all levels of education and expertise.
Over the past year, we have even established Taiwan trade and investment centers in Prague, Czech Republic, Fukuoka, Japan, and Texas, United States. In addition to assisting enterprises in expanding into international markets, one very important purpose is to deepen cooperation between Taiwan and other countries in the semiconductor supply chain.
He also called on international industry leaders to build a cross-border training and exchange network, saying the forum should help strengthen democratic alliances in technology. Lai concluded that by working together, nations can build innovation and secure supply chains that deliver a better life for humanity.
For the first time, the Foreign Ministry has partnered with leading microelectronics industry association SEMI to host the Semicon exposition in Taiwan. Semicon is taking place September 10th through the 12th at Taipei Nangong Exhibition Center and gathers experts and scholars from various countries to discuss the challenges and opportunities facing the semiconductor industry. Posting to social media on Wednesday, Foreign Minister Lin Chia-lung said Taiwan is shaping up to be the most trustworthy partner for democratic nations seeking an edge in the era of artificial intelligence. Lin pointed out that as democratic and authoritarian nations compete for dominance in the AI technology race, advanced semiconductors have become a strategic resource for national security, economic prosperity, and reshaping the global order. Taiwan's supply chain plays an indispensable role in the investment plans and AI deployments of many leading technology companies in the United States, Lin said. The minister hopes that Taiwan will build on this foundation and participate in U.S. AI initiatives in order to help the U.S. maintain its leading edge. This will also allow Taiwanese companies to leverage U.S. markets, technology, talent, and funding to jointly strengthen the democratic supply chain. Foreign Ministry International Cooperation and Economic Affairs Department Director General Vivian Lian emphasized,
"Becoming a trusted global semiconductor supply chain partner is our ongoing goal."
Taiwan's semiconductor industry generated 5.3 trillion NT dollars in output last year, according to Premier Zhou Rongtai. The government is now promoting its new 10 major AI infrastructure projects to reach a 6 trillion NT dollars target this year. Semicon Taiwan 2025 opened this Wednesday, featuring around 1,200 domestic and international companies across more than 4,100 booths. Speaking at the opening ceremony, Zhou noted that Taiwan's accumulated expertise over the last 30 years has extended its semiconductor reach to Europe, the United States, and Japan. He says this is clear proof of the world's reliance on Taiwan. Zhou added that the government has budgeted more than 30 billion NT dollars this year for the projects, which span AI, cloud services, and end-user applications such as silicon photonics, quantum technology, AI drones, and smart robots. On reciprocal tariffs with the United States, Zhou said the world is entering a new tariff order. While Taiwan's talks have slowed due to U.S. Section 232 restrictions, he expressed confidence that the island's long-standing cooperation with Washington and strategic role in global chip supply chains will secure fair treatment.
We believe that based on the past cooperation between Taiwan and the United States, as well as the importance demonstrated by various industries to the world, we are receiving greater recognition, and we will increasingly obtain fair tariff treatment. We look forward to seeing this contribution reflected in the negotiations that will soon continue actively.
Despite tariffs taking effect on August 1st, Taiwan's exports hit $58.49 billion in August, marking a fourth straight monthly record. The Finance Ministry credited high demand for AI-driven applications and seasonal restocking ahead of consumer electronics launches. Taipei's stock index also jumped over 300 points to a new high, boosted by a rally in TSMC shares.
The cabinet approved a 550 billion NT dollar, which is over 18.1 billion US dollar budget for the Special Act for strengthening economic, social, and national security resilience in response to international circumstances on Thursday. The policy includes 236 billion NT dollars, which is 7.8 billion US dollars for universal cash payments. The act focuses on 4 key areas: supporting industry, stabilizing employment, caring for people's livelihoods, and strengthening resilience. The Economic, Agriculture, Finance, and Labor Ministries have launched programs to help businesses improve their operational resilience and expand into diverse international markets. In addition, the cabinet will also be collaborating with the Education, Health, and Interior Ministries to promote measures such as increasing subsidies for disadvantaged individuals, expanding care for elderly people living alone, subsidizing renovations for older homes, and reducing tuition and miscellaneous fees for students. At the same time, these measures aim to enhance higher education talent development, improve the quality of medical services, and strengthen the resilience of emergency medical supplies. However, with the public focused on the approval of universal cash payments of 10,000 NT dollars or $330 per person, Premier Zhou Rongtai stated that the process will begin within 1 month after it passes the third reading and is promulgated. The Premier emphasized that all ministries and agencies must expedite their review and implementation, adhering to the principles of simplicity, speed, and priority. Since the revised acts governing the allocation of government revenues and expenditures took effect, local leaders have raised concerns about the distribution of centrally funded tax revenues. On Wednesday, 15 KMT, TPP, and nonpartisan heads of government held a joint press conference urging the central government to safeguard local fiscal autonomy. They demanded allocations be made according to law, with amounts not reduced compared to pre-amendment levels. President Lai Ching-te said that flaws in the formula left more than 30 billion NT dollars, which is $990 million undistributed, and created horizontal inequities, with southern counties receiving less. He warned this imbalance undermines Taiwan's long-term development. Lai also pointed to vertical inequities, as the new law assigns all business tax revenues to local governments. Next year alone, local governments will see an increase of 416.5 billion NT dollars or $13.7 billion in centrally funded tax revenues. This forced the central government to issue over 300 billion NT dollars or $9.9 billion in debt to balance its budget. Lai cautioned that future disasters could strain the central government's ability to provide relief, harming national development. The president stressed last year's amendment, driven by the opposition, was a grave mistake. He said KMT-led local governments sought to isolate the central government, while the opposition majority legislature ignored the cabinet's warnings and rejected its request for reconsideration.
So we can clearly see that the butcher's knife was never in the hands of the DPP. Premier Cho will, on Saturday, meet in stages with all county and city heads. I hope all can engage in rational and objective discussions, in particular those counties and cities with stronger finances and greater resource allocations should take care of those with fewer resources.
Thank you for listening. Until next week.